Hi and welcome to the NBA show. My name is Morten Jensen, and today you'll just have to sit there and indulge me in my European NBA superstar fantasy. Stay tuned. So for people who followed me for a couple of years, they know that I spend a lot of time talking up Giannis Antetokounmpo as a potential Dallas Mavericks target here in the year of 2021. You can see a video about that. Link is in the description. But ultimately, Giannis stayed with the Milwaukee Bucks. That's great for small market teams. So obviously, I'm happy for Giannis. I'm happy for the Bucks. But as a European, I'm not going to lie to you. There is a small part of me that's a little bit sad. I wanted that duo. And then I was reminded of something after Giannis signed his Supermax. There's a guy in 2023 who will be an unrestricted free agent. His name is Nikola Jokic. So let me, just for once, go off on a completely ridiculous tangent on something that's never going to happen, presumably, and just allow me for a minute to fantasize about this. Nikola Jokic joins Luka Doncic in Dallas in 2023. In 2025, when Giannis has a player option worth almost $52 million, he declines it. He goes to Dallas. And together, the Euro trio has joined forces. Now, by that time, Giannis would be 31, Jokic would be 30, and Doncic would be 26. That works, right? Like theoretically, from an age perspective, that works. I know that you have to make the money work. You have to find a way to fit 3 max guys into that whole situation. You have to surround them with role players. I get that. But let's just play out these scenarios. Could you imagine a Luka Jokic pick and roll with Giannis free roaming? Or hell, could you imagine Giannis taking the defensive board, just slamming on the speeds down the court and have Luka and Jokic fill the lanes? Or just raw pick and rolls with Giannis attacking the rim. And hell, look, that could be both Luka and Jokic doing the ball handling. All 3 are tremendous passers. All 3 are elite rebounders. All 3 also are elite scorers. Now, again, I'm perfectly aware that this might not happen, but as a European, you have to understand why I would love this trio so much. We have seen superstar teams in the past filled to the brim with talent, and no one has ever said a word. The league has gone global. Now I want mine. I want something that the entire continent of Europe can be proud of. Look inwards and go, oh my God, we got it. We got our own super team at the highest level of basketball competition ever. And you know what? I kind of think that trio would be an instant favorite to win the championship. I get it. You're sitting there saying, why am I wasting my time watching a video where you're proposing something that's basically a 2K concept? I get it. And that's why I'm telling you just to let me indulge it for just a minute. Could you imagine the X's and O's here at play? Could you imagine the media coverage? Could you imagine just how scared every single team would be going up against this? I mean, look, there's virtually no flaw in that trio. Well, sure, you can mention that Giannis isn't really a great shooter, or that Luka is also not a great shooter yet, although he still projects to be a high caliber shooter eventually. The release is too good. He takes a lot of forced shots, especially from 3. Those step backs are really murdering his efficiency. So as he ages, gets smarter, understands shot selection just a bit better, there's nothing stopping him from developing into a 40% 3-point shooter. Jokic is already there. And again, there is just, you can't guard them. There is no way that you as an opponent can go up against these 3. Even if they're flanked by me and my brother, they could literally play 5-on-3 basketball and it would be hell. The versatility, the fact that everyone can handle the ball, the fact that everyone can do everything on the court, everyone can step up and have a 40-pointer or a 50-pointer. Look, again, I get it. It's ridiculous. But if we're being honest, we're never really talking about the relationships that Euros have with one another in the NBA. We're always focused on the relationship that guys have coming up in the high school ranks or college or whatever. There is a camaraderie there between Europeans in the NBA. We saw that in the bubble. Is it really that inconceivable that 3 European superstars, much in the similar vein of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, comes together and says, let's do something that represents us a little bit. Let's do what everyone else has been doing for years, but just in our own way, our own European way, so to speak. Is it really that far-fetched? Now, of course, the names involved could change. I'm not saying it would be specifically Luka and Jokic and Giannis, but I don't think it's inconceivable to think down the line that you have a bunch of European NBA superstars, or maybe not even just European, but just non-US players, come together, create a super team of their own international flavor, and just roll over the league for a year or 2 or 3 or however long they're together. Now, I know it sounds insane. I mean, look, the Spurs were the closest thing to it. They had Tony Parker from France, Manu Ginobili from Argentina, Tim Duncan, who was sort of an American, still not, from St. Croix. It's still a lot of international flavor. They had Boris Diaw there, but he wasn't really a superstar. Like, those guys individually, you could argue were superstars, even though Popovich kind of regressed their statistical output a little bit. Like, their impact on the game was tremendous, but it wouldn't compare to, for example, Luka, Jokic, and Giannis. But again, I'm saying, it doesn't have to be those 3 specifically. I just think it's weird that we're never having the discussion of why Euros never go together and talk things out and plan ahead, much like we've seen with everyone else. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm also not gonna say that I would be shocked if something of this vein became a reality. Plus, this would be great for the NBA. It would finally cement their position as a global league. The NBA has interest everywhere, globally already, but to have a team that signifies it, unites it in a way that we've never seen before, that would be special. Now, sure, some Americans might tune out because of it, because we've seen that before. The Spurs is one of the prime examples. I know that the argument is, well, they're boring. I would heavily disagree with that notion, but I have certainly in my time as an NBA observer and analyst seen that part of the arguments against the Spurs were, well, I'm not interested because they were not American. That's just idiotic. It was great basketball. So yes, you would have some people who would tune out because they don't really feel a need to associate with certain players. Now, the diehards, and even I think a lot of the casual fans, would still tune in because this would be just an amazing product. But for Europeans, this would be something else entirely. This would be a dream team scenario, but from our end, where we weren't completely trashed by Michael Jordan and company back in 1992. So I'm just saying, if it happens, it would have just an enormous effect on the global perception of basketball. It would spark headlines all across the world. That team would walk around like the freaking Beatles. They would play tremendous basketball, and I mean a tremendous brand of basketball. They would win. They would be lovable, and I would watch every living second of it. Now I think you've indulged me enough in my crazy ass fantasy. I'll get back to the normal analysis tomorrow. I just had to get that little dream off my chest. It's something I've been kind of laughing off as a joke on the podcast that I run. But for once, I actually just wanted to take a forthright look at that scenario and really ask, could it happen? Again, I don't think so. I think it's just a dream. But by 2025, if somehow, magically, those 3 guys found themselves, each and every one of them, in Dallas, I wouldn't necessarily say I'd be shocked.